sorry. It had to be done.
Where the Normans kept rabbits for food. They had two rabbit warrens or coney grass, one outside the castle and one inside, as you see here. The one outside was used in peacetime to breed rabbits and for food. When the castle ever came under siege, they had the rabbit warren inside. When they wanted fresh meat, they would simply ferry down the hole and get a rabbit for dinner. Come into my church. We know from the records that there was a resident priest here at Mountfitchet Castle, which meant that it was a very important castle. The priest would have been a warrior priest, going into battle and killing people. He was not allowed to use the sword, but was allowed to use the ball and chain, or flail, which you will see later on display in the armoury. He was the only literate member of the whole of the castle community, the rest of the castle community being illiterate. And that is why you can see the paintings on the wall depicting the stories of the Bible. The weak were made to sit at the wall, hence the saying, the weak go to the wall. You have just walked back in time to the 11th century. I am Baron Mountfitchet, and I own the castle and live here with my family, servants and guards. The rest of the castle community lives in the Outer Bailey. My father, the Duke of Boulogne, conquered Stansted in 1066 and built his modern Bailey castle here. He was awarded large areas of land in Essex, Norfolk and Suffolk, as his reward for loyalty and valour to William the Conqueror in his invasion of England and defeating King Harold. One of my descendants, Richard de Mountfitchet II, is destined to become famous as one of the 25 barons responsible for forcing King John to observe the Magna Carta running rule, which laid the foundations for democracy in this kingdom.
Oh, do keep it quiet. I'm trying to sleep. Oh, this is the only place in the entire castle complex where I can get any peace. There'll be a guard at the bottom of the stairs. We'll have a word with him in the morning. Oh, dear.
I am the armourer. You will see in front of you some of the weapons we used in war and combat. The double-handed sword, the single-handed sword, the daggers and the axes. You will see in front of you the chainmail armour we wear when we go into battle to protect ourselves from the arrows and the slashing of the sword. You will see hanging up the flail or ball and chain which the priest used when he went into battle. He was not allowed to use the sword, but used a ball and chain which he knocked people over their head with. You will see the bows and arrows on display. The bows were often made of yew and ash. Further along the building you will see the leather helmet which the peasants used to wear for those who could not afford the steel armour. The man in charge of the prison is called the constable. In front of you, you see the many punishments which were handed out to people who disobeyed the laws. If you were caught hunting the Baron's deer, you had your hand cut off, as you see happening here in front of you. Many hostages were taken and held to ransom for large sums of money. Some of the hostages were treated as house guests, but in many cases they were imprisoned in the dungeon, as you see before you here today.
This is the weaving and dyeing house. In front of you, you will see the loom and some wool from the sheep. We will dye the wool at different stages and weave it into the cloth. Dyes can be obtained from many plants, such as lady's bedstraw for pink, St. John's wort and world for yellow. Tree bark and lichen were other useful dye sources. You will also notice my house is made completely of reed, which were gathered from the riverbed.
Welcome to my home where my family live. We know from the Domesday Book that there were 11 resident families living within the castle walls, and there would have been about 20 people to each family, the same size as mine. We all live cuddled up and sleep round the fire with our animals to keep warm. The only privacy would be behind the hazel screen you see here. In cold weather, we bring hides down over the windows to keep the drafts out. We only bath about once a month, and only in the summer months at that, in the type of wooden bath you see here. In the winter, we don't bath at all, and we cover ourselves in goose fat to keep warm.
Welcome to my kitchen. The kitchen was always situated near the inner bailey, so we could take the food to our master, the Baron, before it becomes cold. You will see around me some of the food we eat: apples and fruit from the orchard, fish from the river at the bottom of the castle, fresh water mussels from the ponds, as well as rabbits, duck and pheasants. Over by the fire, you will see parts of the pig being smoked. Behind that, you will see a section of the wall without any doors, showing how the walls were constructed of interwoven hazel.
Nice. Great.
I think it's worked out quite well. It's very windy today. Hello. Afternoon.
You're having a malt as well, aren't you? I'll get a lot of stuff off you for a stew, wouldn't I?